Hi everybody, I am coming here today to show you how to make these beautiful cards using our National Stamping Month promotion for September. It does carry all the way through October 31st. And these sets are absolutely phenomenal. I know I did another video and pictures on my Facebook page about our National Stamping Month promotion. There are 3 sets. Let me flash these to you. This one is called Floating By, and this one has, wait do you see, wait do you see, oh my gosh, these dies and all the stamps, these adorable little animals, and all of their matching thin cuts. There's some missing here because I was using them in action. This comes with a beautiful full card front cloud die that has the stitch lines all around the edges, and a stencil, a cloud stencil. So that is one set. Another one that we're going to use is called Dragonfly Wishes. And this one is gorgeous. We love our dragonflies. There is a small, medium, and large dragonfly, some cattails and wildflowers with some messages. And the dragonfly dies I have on the table, they're being used. This one has a full card front die that does the really pretty stitched swirls like the dragonflies are in flight. And these full card front dies have a cutting edge as well as the stitch line. So this is going to cut your paper to an exact 4¼ by 5½ size. And check this out, stencils for the dragonfly wings. Oh my goodness. Maybe a little hard to see, but there is the small, medium, and large. There you can see small, medium, and large dragonfly wing stencils. And moving on to one more. This is called Hello Fabulous. There you can see all of the images. Lots of versatility in this set. And there is a die for every single stamp in this set. Look at them all. Holy guacamole. And check out this card front. Beautiful. I don't even know what to call it, but it's gorgeous. And then the matching stencil. Wait till you see what this does. I'm going to demonstrate this for you today. There you can kind of see in the light. They're diagonal lines. Alrighty, let's get started. I'm going to start with the Dragonfly card first. Plain and simple, but still very elegant, classy. Pop of color there with the black and white. Love that style. I started out with a basic 4¼ by 5½ card, cut out the full card front die with the little swirls and glued that onto the front. And we have our cattails stamped and the message, and I did a little dovetail on the side there. But let me show you the dragonflies. I have some of my stamped pieces already done here. And when it comes to using these stencils, I think it's a little easier if you stamp, stencil in color, and then use the die cut to cut it out afterwards. I'm going to use some sponge daubers and inks here. I picked Wild Berry and Lagoon. Whoops. For the big one. So we're going to line this up right over the wings. You can use washi tape if you want to. I don't think it was completely necessary because it's small. You can just hold it with your fingers. Just dab with the sponge dauber and then swirl in the middle there, and then come to the wild berry and then swirl on the edges. And it doesn't take much. It'll blend in, and then maybe I'll come to my blue and kind of blend that out a little. And you lift your stencil off. Wow! There's your dragonfly all colored in beautifully. Really super fast and easy. The little one, I'm going to use, part of my reach, green apple and lemonade. I thought that was really pretty for a dragonfly. And we get these teeny weeny little wings here. can see that when you're right on top of it, you can see how that lines up. And I'm going to use the green apple, just a little dab in the middle, and then the lemonade on the edges. And that's all there is to it. How fast and simple is that? Isn't that pretty? This is so easy, guys. These stencils, I mean, you could sit there with markers or color pencils and still be coloring. Fast, simple, gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it. All right, we'll put those aside, and through the magic of prep work, I already have this done. So we can just layer all these pieces together. And I'm gonna put this off to make sure your card's opening the right way. And if you have any little fudges, you know, if you get a little fingerprint or a blurry image, there's a little smudge here and a little smudge here. Got a little carried away with my black ink when I was stamping. You know, you get inky fingers. It happens. You can camouflage that, of course. There we go. And then I have foam tape on my dragonflies to pop them up. And we're gonna cover up that little smudge down there with the dragonfly. There's usually always a way to hide your mistakes. And there, isn't that gorgeous? Super fast and simple. Very pretty. You can step this up a notch with a shimmer pen. Give it a shake. I have clear shimmer here, and just swirl that over. I'm going to just swipe off. You see it? It picks up, oop, can't see that. It picks up a little of the pigment. So give it a little swipe, and then come to your other colors. Beautiful. And swipe off any excess pigment. So when you look at it up close, you have a real pretty shimmer. I don't know if my camera's picking that up, but shimmer brush, very pretty. You could add some good old-fashioned glitter onto those dragonflies as well. So there's card number 1. Card number 2, I'm going to show you how to do this one. You're the best with this stencil. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, we're going to start with a plain white base that I had cut out from that full card front die. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxide inks here. This is Picked Raspberry, Peacock Feathers, and Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to use this Picked Raspberry swirl. These sponges are awesome with a dome tip. Love them. Swirl it over the ink and then swirl it over your paper. I'm going to do about 1/3. Pick up some extra ink if you need to, and you can make this darker if you want. Just pick up more color. And then next I'm going to turn it upside down. Look at that! So you can use this as a stencil, and then you have those cute little flower patterns. Isn't that pretty? Peacock feathers next. And do the other portion. And then the Mermaid Lagoon right in the middle. And overlap a bit. Blend them together. So where you go over the Picked Raspberry, you're going to have a little bit of purple going on. And a deeper blue-green towards the peacock feathers. Isn't that so pretty? Love, love, love the way that looks. All right, we're going to get rid of one of these colors. And next, we're going to glue this onto our card front. Again, it's so cool that you can create a whole stencil out of this card front die. just run it through your die cutting machine with our stencil film and save it. Get all those in between spots. All right, I'm going to put my pink on the bottom. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And when I ran it through, I cut my paper to 4¼ by 5½ already when I ran it through my die cutting machine. So I have a little haircut I need to do on the side here. That does not bother me. I think it saves your paper, but you just have to make sure it's lined up just right. And sometimes it's not, but I'm not worried about that. So it's glued to the card front. And next we're going to use the die. You can see those little diagonal little holes there. They're made to fit inside these holes, but they're only going one direction. You can see that. So I have a little washi tape on here, and you're going to line this up so that the stencil is nice and lined up. You want to look at all 4 corners, that it's evened up there. And I'm going to come to the picked raspberry and then just give it a rub. And I have the washi tape on, but I'm holding my fingers pretty firmly on there too. I don't want it to wiggle around much. All right, looks good. So then when you lift this off, half of your stencil is all colored in the in-betweens. I think it looks pretty like that, but we're going to finish it off. But before you do that, I'm going to wipe off that ink. I have a little wet wipe here. So clean that stencil. And I'm going to turn it upside down and kind of rub it, blot it on my scrap paper here. So that is pretty clean. And then take that washi tape off. Flip it around. You're just going to turn that stencil upside down and stencil the blue through this side. So we're going to line this up so those diagonal little petals, there we go, it looks like a petal. And Mermaid Lagoon, give it a rub. And you can see how quickly and easily this is. It's just practically effortless. And it is all colored in. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And you want to wipe off that stencil. You can rinse it right under the sink too. A wet paper towel, that'll do just fine. So that's how you use this stencil. You want to use it one way and then flip it over for the other way. Beautiful. All right, and to finish off our card, a couple of scraps. You have scraps of white, scraps of black. This is a 1-inch black with a 1/2-inch white and a 1/4-inch black, just for some contrast. I really like the way this black and white looks on top of this pop of color. I think it's so pretty. All right, then we're going to add this. Make sure your card's opening the right way. This is going down about here. So yes, unfortunately, we're going to cover up some of those really pretty sponging. And I'm gonna snip off that, give it a little haircut. And my messages, this is from the matching stamp set. I have a message, "You're the best," with some foam tape and dog hair. Hey, it's everywhere. And 2 little hearts. That, one there, and one there. And there's your card. So I love this stencil. It's so beautiful. You can leave it white. It's so pretty just as is. Stencil through it. Beautiful. Actually, I have another card. Let me just flash this in front of you. I used that stencil. Actually, let me rephrase that. I used the die, but I did not use the stencil. So there it is, sponged, but I did not use the stencil in between. And then added some little clear sparkles there. And again, the black and white. Excuse me, a black and white. Very classy look. Alrighty. So that is card number 2. And card number 3 is our adorable little fox. And this is, we're going to use our cloud stencil with this and some marker coloring. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. And let's go ahead and glue this down. We're not going to do anything special with this one. And we're not using the stencil, the cloud stencil on this one. We're just using the cloud die. That is going to cover the whole card front here. And tying in this black and white theme, this little 1/4" strip is going to go right down the side. And then let's set that aside to dry. While I show you some coloring. I did a couple balloons here, but let me show you with some markers how, let me pull this. Well, actually, I'm going to turn this over so this sponging isn't in my way. You can see it a little more clearly there. All right, so for the balloon, I use green turquoise, the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends. If you haven't used these, you got to get your hands on them. They do not streak. They blend beautifully. They're alcohol ink markers, and you have a light, medium, and dark tone all in one marker so that you can do shading like the edge of the balloon there, and it just looks gorgeous. So I'm starting with the dark tip. It says dark. So start with that. And I'm going to color right about almost halfway on the edge. A little bit on the bottom there. Make it a little bit more bold. And then turn it around and come to the middle color. And the middle color, I'm going to slightly overlap that dark color. Make that a little more bold, go over it again. And then kind of feather out over the two, blending it a little more. And then on the light tip, you're going to fill in the rest of the balloon. Overlap slightly to pull that out. And fill it in. Now, one of the keys with these markers that I think makes a big, big difference is if you go over everything a second time. So there's one coat. I'm going to come back for a second coat. Same thing. Dark, medium, overlap slightly, pull it out more, and then the light. Overlap the medium, pull it out. And then as this alcohol ink dries into your paper, it's going to look even more smooth. They're just gorgeous. I love that you have the light, medium, and dark tones, so you can really do some very cool shading with these markers. Love it. So there's your green turquoise balloon with 2 coats. We set that aside, and for our little fox, I use the coral shades and coral blend. So the shades are a darker version of the blend marker. So if you hold them like this, you have your coral blend, coral light, medium, and dark, coral shade, light, medium, and dark. So it's a continuation of the same color. And I'm starting with the shade marker, the darker, deeper colors of coral, but light, medium, and dark, I'm going to use the light end. And that's going to be the deepest, darkest color on my fox. The light end of the coral shade marker. And I'm just using this at the top of his head and the top of his ears. I'm going to go over the tops of his arms and then kind of outline that little V. And around his leg, under his belly, like where the shade was. And then I'm going to turn him. I want to kind of flick for his tail from the base of his tail at his bottom. I'm going to do some like flicking hair, like little flicks with the marker there. All right, then I'm going to come to the dark tip of the coral blend and go over that and then slightly pull it down. So you're blending those colors. Slightly overlapping, and then turn it and kind of flick that tail and then extend those little flicks a little longer. Same thing with the medium. Extend those flicks a little longer, further out on the tail. And blending. Slightly overlap, blend it in more. And on the very light shade, you're going to fill in the entire thing. Blend over it to pull it down and fill in. Blend over, pull it down, blend over, pull it down, and fill in. And just like the balloon, you can go over this a second time. And that just makes it more rich. Just pull that in a little bit more. And I'm going to leave him go with just that one coat. And there's your little fox. Adorable. Here he is. All right, so now we can come back to our card base. And one of the balloons, let's lay this on without glue first, just to get our placement. I have our message that's going to go down here. And the balloons, we want them to look like they're holding on, he's holding on to them. So the one balloon we're going to glue straight down. So right about there. The other balloon I have on foam tape. I want some dimension there. All right, and our fox, we're going to add some foam tape onto him, but we can glue our message down right at the bottom there, kind of covering up that little cloud. If you don't have our 3D foam tape, I highly recommend you get some. It's the best. When you use this in combination with our non-stick Teflon scissors, your scissors don't ever get gummed up. It cuts beautifully. You get 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch. Love it, love it, love it. And because it's on a roll, you can do shaker cards, so you can box in the whole card base because it's on a roll. Love, love, love our foam tape. All right, little fox. There he is, holding on to our balloons. And then when you cut this cloud die, you get all these little cloud pieces that are cut out of it. So we're going to add some dimensional clouds onto our card front there. Oop, and one more at the top. There you have it, guys. Isn't he adorable? I have another variation to show you with a different stamp from that set, our little mouse. OMG, isn't he the cutest thing? Love, love, love these little characters. Alrighty, guys, so finishing up here, we did our fox, we did our sponging, and then the stencil with the dragonflies. I hope you enjoyed those ideas, and I have a couple other card samples to show you. With the dragonflies, same theme, but we use the Distress Oxide inks on the background. And then you see some water splatters. I just kind of splattered it with a wet paintbrush. Very, very cool. And a different card with the dragonflies and the wildflowers. Very, very pretty. And I flashed this one at you earlier with that other die. And our little balloon animals, here's a really cute little bird with the balloon. You can stamp the messages right on the balloon too. Isn't that cute? This one I used the cloud stencil to sponge through. Alrighty, guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you feel inspired to do some stamping on your own. Any questions, leave me some comments. Give it a like too. Thanks. Bye.